Okay. Today, Paul, see, look here. I see here a different entity because you see the kotel, which I always say, the kotel, this picture here tells the whole story. We see here the kotel and we see here the mosque. Who was first? This kotel is a wall that is already 1,000 years older than this mosque, and this wall is the end of the Jewish time. So obviously we were here first, and like we got occupied, we're still occupied, and the Palestinians, the Muslims, just decided to take this. We are here since then. We were an occupied nation. Now, what did happen is, who was at the kotel? You see the people over there, the religious people? Those were the people that held on for 2,000 years. But what happened is that a whole new identity, and they're my brothers, I love them, but it's a new identity. Mediנת, Israel is a new identity. See the soldiers? That's a new identity. That's saying we're a nation without a covenant with God. That's not the dream of 2,000 years that the Jewish people had and kept the land. And this entity came and usurped us, took over we're still occupied, because they not only took over the land, they took over our identity, our name. They didn't take over the identity, they changed identity. And they also changed the membership rules. It's a different nation because they allow all people who are spouses are Jewish to also become citizens, to also become part of this entity. And all the children, regardless if it's a mother or a father, they're changing the whole setup, and they're all on top of our 2,000 years of keeping our land. We were occupied. This identity was occupied. Now what's happening is they're forcing us, coming in, forcing us to fight their wars, גיוס חרדים. They're trying to draft us, and they're trying to, the same thing what Napoleon did when he wrote in a letter to his minister that Jews are not good, we have to change them, so we're going to take them in their army, and they're going to stop having Jewish sentiments and feelings in interest, and they're going to have French sentiments and interests. The same thing is happening here. We fought that, we kept our dream. And on that dream, these people came, this entity, my brothers, but a separate entity, they came, this entity, and is trying to kill that very same power that kept us all along. We're knowing we're God, we're chosen by Hashem, and we have a Brit. We chose Hashem to be in a covenant of love with Hashem, and that is the point. And see what's happening is, because the Zionist entity is not recognized as one long entity, they don't have a good argument, because then the Palestinians were here first. And that's how Wikipedia plays the game, and they so Israel only has history starting in 20th century or what, because they cut it off. It's a new reality, but really we're a Jewish nation that has an identity as being a nation that has a covenant with God. You see how when someone wants to join us, they have to join the covenant, and then they become part of our family. And yes, every one of them is part of our family, and because they're family, and the family made this covenant. But the entity that they are using and they are creating and they're taking over is not the entity of the Jewish people, and therefore that's causing even the problem, because no one understands why it's ours. But if we would keep and understand that we're occupied since then, and we were here, we're the occupied people, then the Palestinians will lose their standing, and that's why it's connected. Let the Israeli government understand, not גיוס חרדים, because they're taking our land, occupying us, and going against the Geneva Convention by A, forcing us to be part of their army, and B, not respecting our religion and our culture. We love them, they're our brothers. They're just making a mistake, and let's fix it. L'chaim, l'chaim, v'uletzim goyim.